What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the RPS PGA Pinseekers show. I'm JSU, and with me today, again, my partner, my man, Big T. Big T, what's up, brother?
What's going on? Yeah, I mean, we look forward to these nights now, and we got some basketball on the TV earlier. The Nuggets, I mean, got me home twice already today. I think already two bullets in the chamber thanks to the Nuggets earlier, looking good. We got baseball opening up tomorrow. We got a golf tournament. Freaking great stuff going on right now, and we're gonna give the winners like always. Last week we finally, like we said, we give the truth here on Wednesday night. We don't lie like the Tuesday show. We don't all the crap they say where they just make stuff up. We tell the truth. We didn't have a good week last week. Our dude was making tens out there, hitting into backyards 3 times. Brooks Koepka freaking sucked. He was not Big Dick Brooks. He was something else. Limp Biscuit Brooks. But we're back at it. I mean, we're back at it this week, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, like Tony said, we're very transparent over here, and we're gonna tell you the truth, whether it's good or bad. And I definitely had a bad week. I know Tony had a bad week too. And really, it's been our first bad week in a couple weeks. So I mean, it was bound to happen. But yeah, just it didn't work out. It seemed like all the 9K guys, like outside of like we just picked the wrong 9K guys, and all our cheapies were the ones that actually made it. Like we were telling you to play Jimmy Furyk, and I mean Tony was telling you to play Jimmy Furyk, and he made the cut, and I was telling you to play Bez, and like it seemed like all these cheapies that we played were doing fine, and it was actually the big dogs that we were actually getting crushed by. So it's just
Yeah, our
it's
cheapies
funny how things
smashed.
work.
I mean, we crushed, but the problem is when the big dogs don't hit, and we didn't have too much of Rom. I mean, I think I had a little Rom, but for the most part, he wasn't on any of my key stuff. So, yeah, it doesn't help if you hit the cheap guys if your big dogs don't get all the way home on you.
Oh, by the way, Tony, I'm actually really angry at you, and all the viewers should be too. You told everyone to fade Xander. How could you tell everyone to fade Xander? That guy made the cut, and he ended up finishing like what in the top 15. You told everyone to fade Xander. I mean, I can't believe that you told everyone to fade Xander.
It's just so good too because so everyone that watched the show obviously heard me say to fade Xander. But then on Thursday when he started whatever he freaking started, I don't even remember, +8 or something, whatever it was. Some dude on Twitter is just harassing me about playing freaking Xander, and I took one for the team. I didn't throw anyone under the bus. I said, yeah, whatever. Went at him a little bit. And then Xander makes the cut, and this guy's – I did block him, so I don't know if he's nowhere to be found, but he was a piece of work, though.
Yeah, he was. And guys, I apologize. It's thundering real bad here. So if you do hear some noises or my dog barking, it's just because the thunder's kind of freaking him out a little bit. But Tony, new week. I mean, let's kind of dive into it. I mean, we've got an interesting week here with these top guys, really. I mean, we're going to start at the top. We've got DJ at 11.5, Brooks Koepka at 11.2, Tony Finau at 10.9, Tommy Fleetwood, who we haven't seen yet, at 10.5, and then Paul Casey at 10.1 to kind of round out that 10K and up range. It's really interesting. A lot of guys who are not really used to seeing kind of at the top, maybe outside of DJ and Koepka, and really they're the lower of, normally these 10K and up guys, and they're the highest price guys. So, I mean, what are we doing here? What's the strategy you're thinking, when it comes to this? Because the 9K range, honestly, is a bunch of golfers that should not be 9K players, but are because of the field we're in.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be the theme of the week where we are going to see a lot of guys priced up where they're out of where they normally are. I mean, almost every guy in the field is priced up at least a couple thousand. So you just don't – you can't look at it that way, I guess. You just got to look at it like it is. It's a bad tournament, and a lot of guys are going to have a chance to win. But this top range is kind of where I'm struggling a little bit because I like a lot of cheap guys. but I think I can take a stand in the cheap range more than the top range this week because honestly, like I look at all these guys. I mean, there's only what 2, 4. I'm definitely not playing Bubba Watson, but I mean these other guys like Casey, Fleetwood, Finau, Koepka, DJ. I could make a solid case for all 5 of them, honestly, and I might do something different this week. It shows you too, like I don't think we can fall into the same pattern week after week of what we need to do. We need to be able to change it up. And so Koepka, for example, like I'm worried about him. Everyone's talking about his knee. He shot terrible on the weekend last week, but this is a new field, and literally no one's going to play him. Like, so I don't have to go crazy. Like I can play 20% Koepka or even more and just get way over the field. I was going to fade him all week coming into this afternoon, which is why I liked on this show. We talked about this too. Like this is why I liked on the show on Wednesday nights because I finally get a pretty good feel. And if no one's going to play Brooks Koepka, I need to play Brooks Koepka on at least one of my 3 big teams and maybe 20 to 30% of my milli makers, get 2 or 3 times the field. And then you look at these other guys, though, I could honestly see any of these 5 guys dominating and winning this tournament. So I might just do the type of thing where I'm playing 30% of all these guys. I'm going to play more of Casey. Casey's the one guy that I'm for sure going to go. Like we got him projected, I think 30%. I might just play 60% Casey and then play like 30% the other 4 guys, which sounds kind of like a cop out. But when we get in this cheap range, though, it's not going to be a cop out because I'm going to take stands in the cheap range. So it's almost like I'm flipping it a little bit.
That's fine if you want to tell everyone exactly how you're playing, but I need a lean one way or the other with these 4 guys. If you had to rank them, just give the people. I know you're going to be kind of even with the rest, but outside of Casey, who's clearly your favorite, how do you rank the other 4?
So for me, if I was playing one team, I think it would be Koepka. I really do, just because, again, this is tournaments. This isn't cash. I'm trying to win first place. And that ownership, man, like right now, if DJ's 20%, Finau's 20%, Fleetwood's 20%, and Koepka's under 10, I honestly think these guys are similar. Granted, I know the risk. Like everyone has talked about the knees, the knee hurts, and he looked bad last week, blah, blah, blah. But he needs points to get into playoffs. He's playing this week, so I'm assuming he's healthy or he just wouldn't play. And no one's going to play him. I mean, the dude's won 4 majors. He's got tons of ability. Hasn't looked good this year. I get all that. Like I do. It's just a tournament play, ownership. But again, I'd rather just get a little – like I'm going to play 3 teams in the big stuff, and I'm definitely not going to play them on more than one. So I guess for me on the 3 main teams, the question is who do I leave out? Because I'll probably play, honestly, Casey with one of these guys in all 3 of my teams, which would mean I have to fade one. I think it's Finau for me. I think it's either going to be Finau or DJ for sure. I'm for sure playing at Fleetwood. I'm for sure playing at Koepka. And I'm torn on DJ and Finau, so maybe you can help me break the tie up top.
I mean, I'm really happy you said that because DJ and Finau are the 2 guys I have no exposure to at all. And Casey was the one I needed your help with because he was the one I was going back and forth on. But seeing that you love him, that might change my opinion. But the 2 guys who I like the most at this top range is 1, Tommy Fleetwood, and 2, Brooks Koepka. And for Brooks Koepka, the one thing I want to say is, yes, the knee injury, is it concerning? Sure. But is Brooks Koepka probably one of the 2 most talented golfers in this field? Yes, he is. Is he going to be under 10%? Yes, I think he will be. And when you get into this weak field, if you're going to give me the best or second best golfer talent-wise at under 10%, I think this is where ownership can really help you. When we talked about how some of these guys in this 10K and up range are not normally here. Like Paul Casey was 7,900 last week. Think about it, 7,900. All right. Tony Finau, what was he like in the 8Ks, 9K, like the past couple weeks? He's not normally a 10K player. Did he play well last week? Yeah, of course he did. And that, along with the fact that he is one of the better golfers in the field, is why he got the price bump. But I'm just saying, Brooks Koepka is actually normally it's in this upper 9K, 10K. So 11K isn't that crazy for him to be in this field. And then put that together with the ownership. And I'm gonna go overweight on him. I'm in my MMEs. I'm gonna go overweight on him. On FanDuel, it's just so easy to have two studs.
FanDuel's always a different story at the top because it's so easy.
I mean, we can talk about that too, but like on FanDuel, I'm definitely overweight on Brooks, overweight on Fleetwood for sure. And then Casey, I guess, would be the next guy because you probably want three, definitely two guys you want to be overweight on at the top. But that's my lean here. Is I think I'm fading Finau. I think he's going to be popular after last week, and I'm fading DJ, and I'm going to go with the lower ownership with Brooks. And I think the knee's fine. If he's playing this week, I think the knee's going to be fine. So I'm not that worried. And then Tommy Fleetwood is the guy. I think he's gaining a little steam, but he's someone who I've always played. I think he's a really good golfer. It helps to see that he's been golfing. Obviously not on tour yet because this is his first one, but still, I like him here. I hope that people stay away from him and kind of take a wait and see approach with him. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I do think Casey and Finau will be more popular than him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I'm torn on the owners outside of Koepka. I'm super. I think it's going to be close. I do. And Casey, I think is going to be the.
Can we just say though, there's not that many studs to pay up for, right?
Which means that, they're all going to get ownership.
They're all going to get ownership. Yeah. When we say like this guy's going to be low owned, they're all going to get ownership. So
besides Koepka, Koepka's not.
Yeah, no.
I don't see any way he get. That's why I think there's such value. And to be honest, I was planning on fading him all week, and he's just going to be so low owned that you can just get such massive leverage that you just have to do it, I think. And he's definitely not an all-in play, I don't think. Like, I always talk about Wakey. I was talking to him earlier. I think he might go – he's going to go super heavy on a guy like Koepka too. And I don't know how heavy I want to go, but I do want to be above the field without a doubt. And I think it's easy to do too because I don't love the 9K range. Like, we can just hop into that now. Like, everyone's going to play Lucas Glover at 9,400 at 25, 30% owned. I mean, 30% Lucas Glover at 9,400. I mean, that brings me back. What was the week where we were saying like 30% Harris English and these guys? Like, I'm not playing.
Oh, that
30%.
Was in the beginning. That was in the beginning too. I think
this is what it reminds me of, though. Like 30% Lucas Glover at 9,400.
Wait a second, though. Harris English was like 7,300 that week.
Same difference, I will say. Though. Like, it's the ownership though, where it's like, and that was a much stronger field. I just I can't even imagine paying 9,400 for 30% Lucas Glover, who's playing every single week. It feels like he's due for a stinker. I got to get off this train. And honestly, I don't like this range. Like, Harris English is going to be popular. Even if I go down to EVR and Doc and Norlander, I don't like any of these guys. I mean, Matty Wolff won last year. I did like him most of the week, but I'm kind of getting off Matty Wolff too, just because, man, these matchups, which we're going to talk about at the end of the show, like always, are really ugly for Matty Wolff and the reason is, his price is freaking so high. I mean, 9,700 for Matty Wolff. He was 6,800 when we jammed him in. And again, I know it's the theme of the show. Everyone's more expensive, and we got to kind of analyze it. But still, you're still paying 9,700 for Matty Wolff when you can pay 10-1 for Paul Casey. You can pay 10-5 for Fleetwood. I mean, those guys are proven commodities. Matty Wolff is not a proven commodity. And all these guys, I don't like any. I seriously think I'm going to fade this whole range down to Norlander. And there's a lot of chalk in here. I mean, you're talking 25% Glover, 16% Henley, 25 to 30 Redmond, 25 freaking EVR. All these dudes. If I fade this whole range and this range busts, I like my chances. And honestly, I don't like any of these guys. Do you like any of these dudes?
So with the 9K range, Matty Wolff would definitely be the guy who I would go to as my favorite play in the 9K range. But I agree with you that his price is very expensive. So I'm not going to have a lot of him, especially because I'm just going to have more Tommy Fleetwood and Brooks Koepka. In when building lineups, it was tough for me to have a Tommy Fleetwood, Matty Wolf, or a Brooks Koepka, Matty Wolf lineup. They just didn't look that great to me. I didn't like them as much. So I'm not going to have as much Matty Wolf, but I'm going to have a little bit. In an MME, like on FanDuel, again, I'll bring it back to FanDuel. Like I'm definitely going to have Matty Wolf on FanDuel because it doesn't matter the price of these guys. Like you can get whoever you want. So like I do like Matty Wolf. I wish he wasn't, 9,700 on DraftKings, but again, it's a little easier on FanDuel to get him. So on FanDuel, I'm definitely going to have more Matty Wolf than I will on DK. But you're right. Like all these other guys, like I'm probably going to end up fading. Not that I don't like Glover. I've been on Glover like every week.
We both have. We've been on him heavy.
Yeah. I like him. I like Harris English. I liked, for a while. But I mean, 9K for these guys is expensive. That's where the fade can come in. Doc Redman is the only one I'm going to push back on you with. I do like some Doc at 8,700. I can't fade all the chalk. And if I'm fading Glover and English and probably Norlander too, I'm with you on that. I'm going to fade Norlander. I'm definitely going to play Burns and I'm going to play Redmond. Those are the two in that $8,500 and $8,700 guys. Those are my two favorite guys in that 8K, upper 8K range, mid to upper 8K range that I like. And I'm going to be way overweight on the field. So if Doc Redmond comes in at like 20, I'm going to have like 40 to 50% Doc Redmond, probably 50% Sam Burns, maybe 60 for my MME. I like Sam Burns a lot. So like, let's get into this 8K range because we talked about the 9K range. We don't really want to play any of these guys, right? So that means that there are going to be guys in this lower 8K range that we probably like. I haven't hit on one guy who I really like as a pivot in this kind of mid-tier 8K range, but talk about it a little bit and then I'll get to him.
So the chat's saying like total fade, not just under. Like I'm totally fading Glover. I'm totally fading Doc Redmond. So one of my issues with Doc Redmond is he's priced up too. Like Harris English is 300 more and 400 less than. So I guess that's where my decision is. Like you got Glover, English, Doc Redmond, maybe the three chalkiest guys outside of Paul Casey on the whole slate. Where you're right, I probably shouldn't fade all three of them. So I think Harris English is just clearly my favorite of the three. And I know for sure people are starting their teams with Glover and Redmond. So I'm just going to fade them. I'll play some Harris English. The chat said, is it a complete fade? Like when I say I'm fading them, that means I'm just fading them. Like I'm not going to – I'd say underweight. Like you'll hear us as we do the shows. Like we'll be underweight if we're going to do something like that or with the field. But if we say we're fading them, like we're fading them. So, yeah, I'm not going to play Glover and Redmond, and I am going to play Harris English, though. If I said I was going to fade him, the more I looked at it as you were talking, I'll definitely play some Harris English. And Matty Wolf. I'm not going to completely fade Matty Wolf. In like a Millie Maker type tournament where if he wins and goes low, it's so important, I'll definitely have some Wolf, but I'm not going to play him over a guy like Paul Casey on my big teams, like 555 teams and stuff like that. So just working our way down that, the next range is the range I start to like guys. So I really want to fade or be underweight, like we said in that last range. But then you get to my guys. Sammy Burns, been really good to us. He's priced way up too, but I think this field and this course sets up nice for him. We got Luke List, who I like, who's looked good. Patrick Rogers, who I really like. He was good. Let me pull up his thing. Last week he looked good. At the Memorial, he got 18th. He missed the cut. He got 45th before that and missed the cut. So he's kind of been up and down. But 18th last week, he's always scored, I feel like, good in these type of tournaments where the field is a little easier. And his price is one of the prices that doesn't feel too crazy to me. I mean, 8,200 feels fair in this field. Ryan Moore and Max Homa and Harmon, I'm for sure. Harmon, man, we played him a few of those weeks. He freaking sucked. I'm done with Harmon. I mean,
Yeah, no Harmon for me. No Harmon. That guy can't make a
yeah.
5-foot putt. That guy is missing 5-foot putts left and right. I mean, he gets it to literally 5-6 feet to the hole,
Yeah.
and he can't make one. It's just
He screwed up
infuriating.
so many freaking. I mean, he's missed. I talk about how a lot of people use stats, and we kind of look a little bit more at like recent history and odds. I mean, if I ever click on a guy like Harmon, in my head, I feel like he burned us. And I pull his player card up, and he's missed 3 straight cuts. Like, that's just auto fade for me. Like, it's just there's no reason to go there. So, and it makes it even less of a reason to go there when you got all guys you like in here. I mean, Sammy Burns, List, Rogers, Homa are 4 of my favorite plays. So that's another reason I'm okay with fading that range above them. What do you think of all these guys?
Yeah, so the guy I was talking about was Luke List. Really like List. I don't think he got as huge of a price bump as some of these guys that we saw, like Norlander. He's a little ahead of Luke List, but Norlander was like 6,500. So he got a bigger price bump than him, just by a little bit. But I mean, that's a difference here. And I think Luke List is one of those streaky tournament guys who, if he's on, he can easily, have it going at an easier course like this. And then Patty Rogers, I'm with you. I do like him a lot at 8,200. But it's probably going to be Burns 1, Redmond 2, Luke List 3, and Rogers 4. But those are the 4 guys in the 8K range that I'm definitely going to play and have some of. I'm going to have no Homa. That guy just, man, he's got bad luck, I guess. I don't know what it is, but he gets to that cut line, and it's always just he just can't do it for some reason.
I just brought it up though, like with the miscut, like he's missed 3 straight cuts. I mean, it's tough to click on a dude that is going to be somewhat popular, and he's missed 3 straight cuts. Like, it's hard to pull that trigger. You're right.
And here's the thing: is you see 3 missed cuts, and people might think like, oh, this guy's going to be like low owned. But no, everyone loves him. Like, people are talking about him still. This is a weaker field. So people are going to definitely be back on Homa. I'm just going to stay off and hope it, I haven't played him to this point, so I'm just going to keep it going. But Tony, is there anyone else before we get into this 7K range? Because this is where it kind of opens up. Anything else you want to talk on?
No, I mean, those are the guys for me. Definitely those 4. I'll probably fade Ryan Moore just because of how much I like the other guys. But yeah, let's hop down under 8K.
Yeah, and guys, real quick, if you guys aren't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button, and then like our video, because it helps us, pump out more free content. So hit that thumbs up, subscribe. We're trying to get over, 1,000 subscribers. If we do get over 1,000 subscribers, we're gonna give a probably an RPS subscription or 2 away on Tony's dime. So he said on his dime.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
we got this gear. Dunkel called me earlier today, and we got the gear arriving tomorrow. So we got boxes of gear coming tomorrow that I'm ready to give some out. I mean, we got a ton of stuff. We got to get 5 more subscribers on the YouTube, and we need. I mean, last week when we pounded these likes, we got what do we get, like 50? Yeah,
nope,
50.
We got
50. 70, Landon said 50 likes, and I do. I kind of do for a windmill.
We got 70. We had 77 likes on our video, I think it was, by the end. And I think we need 8 subscribers to hit 1,000. So, I mean, let's try and beat 77. I mean, if we can beat 77, Tony will start handing out, giblet shirts and, the RPS hats. He'll start throwing them out. So,
I'm going to give it. I'll give some stuff out for sure. And this stuff's going to be good. Like I said, we don't get none of that cotton stuff at Run Pure. Like we got the good polyester stuff. Like this
is the good stuff. Yep.
Yeah, it's coming
so
tomorrow
hit that thumbs
too.
Up.
So we'll get that out for. I mean, you have some new gear for baseball.
And if he doesn't, I'll make sure he gets. I'll get it out for him, and I'll make sure he pays for it. So.
I mean, we don't need Jason. I mean, Jason in here with the sports keg. I mean, he's in here flexing, saying the bet side is pulling 5.5K views. I mean, Jason, don't come in here wrestling us. I mean, we're not on for 12 hours. The DFS side are only on here for 1 hour. We're working hard. We're grinding in here. We're not laying 275 on freaking Doc Redmond to make the cut. Come on, Jay.
Those cut parlays that you're following, man, going on blindly.
can't
God.
follow Mangone into a parlay thing anyway. I mean, come
The
on.
only thing you
can't
can follow Mangone on is when he picks like a player to have like over 4.5 rebounds. When he does that, I mean, he's pretty good at that.
I mean, whenever Mangone says he wants $37 to win 34 on Giannis over 9.5 rebounds, that's when you follow him, not when he's doing cut parlays. Come on, Jay.
Oh, Giannis. All right, let's get into this. Let's not start going off on a tangent here. Let's get into the 7K range. Now, here's the range where it gets interesting because in my opinion, and I remember we were talking yesterday, and I was kind of talking to this with you about how there's a bunch of guys in this range who didn't get big price bumps, who might have been, in the low 7K range, and now they're maybe a few $100s higher, but not extremely. It's not a huge price bump. It's not a Norlander going from 65 to 86, right? So who are you looking at here? Who are the guys that kind of jump out at you as like your favorites? Because I see a few guys that I like.
So I don't like this range as much. I always like Johnny Vegas. I mean, he's priced up a little bit, but he's a bomber. I'm always gonna play Vegas at courses like this when the price is right. And I do like him, but as far as this other high 7K range, I don't think I'm playing any of these other guys. I mean, I do like Ryan Armour, but let me see. Ryan Armour.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, get on the Armour train. That
was our boy. I don't know though, man. Like, he looked really good for us those 2 weeks when he got back-to-back top 10s. But then he shoots 72 at the way. I like Armour, yeah. I mean, I'd rank him number 2.
And here's the thing, too, is he missed the cut his last tournament, which is probably why he didn't get that big of a price bump, which he should have. And if you think about it, if he didn't miss that cut and he was coming off those 2 performances, he might have been an 8K player or a 9K player, honestly. But because he missed that cut, and you can make the case that he's been playing as good as really any of these guys in that upper 8K range, maybe outside of Sammy Burns consistency-wise, but like you can make the case that he's been playing just as good as any of them. And he's 600? So, I mean, I think he's going to be on my main team. I'll tell you that right now on DK. 100%.
Main team alert.
100%.
Like it.
So, is there anyone else that you like, Tony, before I
don't. I mean, I think I'm definitely going to take more stabs on the cheaper guys just because, like I said, I want to play 2 guys at the top. I want to play Casey. I want to play Fleetwood, Koepka, DJ, Finau. I want to play all those guys. So I need some cheaper guys to kind of fill things out.
All right. So, yeah, I'm on the Johnny Vegas train, too. I like him a good amount. We talked about Armour. I think Siwoo Kim has been playing real well. I think for GPPs, he's a really strong GPP play. And then I like Alex Noren at 7,500. Talk about 2 guys in Siwoo Kim and Alex Noren, both guys who are just straight tournament plays. They're definitely not cash plays, but they are guys who are going to either go low or they're going to miss the cut, right? But for tournaments, those are the guys you want to take stabs on. And like I talked about, there are also 2 guys who didn't really get price bumps. Right. And Siwoo Kim's been playing pretty well and didn't really get a price bump. So it's kind of interesting because he's normally in the range. He's actually normally sometimes higher than some of these guys that are in the upper 8K range. So that's what's kind of funny about it. And it just sticks out to me. So I'm going to play some Siwoo. I'm going to play some Alex Noren in GPPs. Those are probably Vegas, Armour, Noren, and Kim are the 4 guys I'm looking at in this range, in that like 75 and up range. Tony, you want to talk about this lower range? Because I know there's a few guys in this lower range you like.
Yeah, so working our way down. I mean, Charlie Hoffman, I seen Hoops got him in his tiers. Man, I don't know how you could play Charlie Hoffman. Like, he does not do it for me. He does not make the old shaft move very, very much. I'll say that much.
No, the Hoffman? No Hoffman for you?
No. I mean, coming off, he got 7th.
That's a hoop play right there, though. Yeah, that's a hoop play.
I can't do the Charlie Hoffman, but good news is at the same price, I mean, you got our dude Werenski, who has just been rock solid, man. And he's another guy that we've kind of played a bunch in these tough fields 35th, 21st, 46th, 58th. That doesn't sound incredible, but all those fields were good, much better than this week. And he made the cut every week, did solid every week. I mean, you were always talking about Furyk's points. The last 3 tournaments he played, 77, 93, 76. This is a much weaker field, much easier course. At the Rocket Mortgage, he finished 21st, which is a comparable tournament, for 93 points. Sign me up for that. Like, I would love that exact performance from him. 21st and 93 fantasy points. Like, I would love that. He hasn't missed a cut since COVID, and I just think he's a really, really good play. He's going to be owned. He's going to be one of the popular guys in here. But again, these cheaper guys, they're not going to be crazy. These guys are never higher than 10 to 15%. So I'm good with that with the guys I like. He's treated me well. I'm going to stay with him. One guy that's kind of started to pop a little bit for me is Charles Howell. I wasn't on him, but a few of these matchup prices are just like really liking Howell against some scrubs. He's usually been known as a cut maker. This year he struggled a little bit, but last week, super tough field. T48 last week, which is impressive to me because it was a tough field, tough weekend. Battled through T48, so that's solid. I like him. Our boy Wyndham Clark. I mean, he's three. We're going to start getting into a lot of these guys where they're 2-3% owned. If you play 10%, like we say every week, you're way above the field. So Wiesberger, I know Wiesberger's got a little chatter where he's ranked much higher in the world than a lot of these guys in this range. My only issue with Wiesberger is he just hasn't looked very good. I mean, last week he shot 75, 76, missed the cut. And that was the only tournament he's played over here. So I don't think I like him, but he's definitely in consideration for me. You want to talk about a guy that just – I played the last 2 weeks, and he just freaking sucked, was Griot. So a few times this year with Streelman and a few other guys, we've kind of been on them. And then the next week when we get off, they crush. Please don't do it to me this week, Griot. Please don't fire back and contend this week because – I'm definitely not playing you this week. Like, you're definitely a fade. And I was pretty heavy on Griot, all things considered, the last couple weeks, and he just completely flamed. I mean, 79 he shot last week. It was a hard tournament, but Thursday wasn't hard. I mean, it was fine. Like, you can't shoot 79. That's just brutal.
I mean, didn't Xander shoot like a 78 or 79?
He battled back, though. He had the stones to battle back.
He did, but he's a top golfer as opposed to Griot. But yeah, I mean, so I'm with you on Werenski. The Jimmy Furyk comparison. I mean, I see a little more upside in Werenski than I do Jimmy Furyk if we want to go there. But I mean, I like him at 7,400.
When are you going to talk about price. your little T22 versus T46?
Oh no, I'm getting to it. The people remember the Bez versus Jimmy Furyk play. And if you stayed on the Bez train, you got more fantasy points and a better finish. Top 25 finish. Where was Jimmy Furyk? Was he in the top 25?
What if you needed that extra 300 savings or whatever it was?
300 savings. He was 6,800. All right.
That's 300. That 300 could have got you like Rom or something.
No, Rom was 90, like 300. You could have easily got Rom. But I mean, outside of that, this is the range where I was kind of struggling to find guys that I really, really liked outside of Werenski and our guy. I can't believe you didn't bring him up, and maybe you were just kind of waiting. But Seifert,
yeah, I didn't make my way down there yet. I was going to.
All right, well, I want you to make your way down there because we have a disagreement at RPS right now, and it's the big guys at the top. We're struggling to agree on Chase Seifert, and actually, really, it's only one guy. It's our one of our main guys, AP.
Coop. I mean, Coop the donkey.
Oh, I forgot about Coop. Yeah. So what is it? It's you and Snyder versus AP and Coop in a matchup of Seifert against no Seifert. Like 7K Seifert, he only went up $800. Like he didn't get priced up like 2K like some of these guys in the 6K range. He's 7K and he's projected anywhere from 10 to 12%. Maybe it's 15. I don't know. But even at 15, He's 7K. That is like, he is such, in my opinion, still such a good play at 15%. Like that to me is crazy that people think that percentage, because of that percentage, he's a fade. But Tony, you want to talk about it real quick?
Yeah, I mean, so in their reasoning is they're fading the chalk. Like 15% is super heavy. First of all, I don't think he'll end up 15% anyways, but if he ends up between 10 and 15, like, I'm not worried. In their reasoning, they start saying, oh, he holed out from the fairway. He did this. He made a bunch of putts. Yeah, he finished 4th place. Like, he doesn't have to finish 4th. That was a tough field. He finished 4th place. He shot 68, 69, 70, 67. In the week before, the Rocket Mortgage, which is a comparable field to this, he shot 66, 6 under on that Thursday. He had a terrible Friday to miss the cut, which was why we were able to come back and get him at 1% the next week, because no one really played him after that. His price just haven't moved. We talked about all those guys that their price went up 2,000, 3,000. He went up 800, and he should have been 7K already, like 6,200, like he was those last 2 tournaments. He was just mispriced, which was why we played him anyways. He should have been 7K all along. He's priced correctly. I mean, he's coming off a 4th at the much better tournament. I just couldn't even imagine not playing him at 7K. Like, he could win the whole tournament. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins this thing at 125 to 1. He's going to be in contention. And honestly, I love this range. Like, seriously, they might have definitely 3 of my favorite, like, 6 plays are all right here with Matthias Schwab or whatever this dude's name is. Like, his Vegas odds are just absurd. Like, he's on Pinnacle right now. This dude's 36 to 1, which I think is a little low. Like, he shouldn't be 36 to 1. They just don't want to take action on him. I mean, at Bookmaker, he's like 70 to 1. I just don't like, he's going to be 3% owned. If you look at his finishes, I mean, this dude has been really freaking good. And the funny thing is, I was going to put this guy in my core, or my tiers, I should say, but it's just that he's in there with guys like Warminski and Seifert, like, to where I didn't want to confuse people because they know I'm going to play them, but I like all these guys. And so you look at this guy, Matthias. He's got a 4th, 42nd, 23rd, 44th, 42nd, 21st, and then he missed the cut last week at the Memorial, which was a super tough tournament. I think he's a great, great play. And in the same range, Taylor Gooch. Like, I always like Gooch in these fields. He's going to be pretty low owned too. He's super consistent, where I like targeting him. I mean, he's played 19 events. He's made 14 cuts. He got cut last week, but he finished 17th at the workday the week before. I just like him in these fields. Like, I don't like him in stacked fields. I didn't play him much last week. But in these weaker fields, I feel like he can score. And I like him. So you got 3 of my favorite guys all right in that range. I mean, Seifert, Gooch, Matthias, or however you pronounce the dude's name.
Yeah, and just quickly, we got a Uncle T in the chat. Seifert sneeze, so shout out Uncle T. And
what do you mean sneeze? What do you mean Seifert sneeze? What does sneeze mean?
Sneeze. He's playing them. He likes
season.
them.
That's season, not sneeze.
Season. Whatever. It's late sneeze. For me.
What
all right.
Sneeze.
Yeah. Whatever. Season. Whatever. And then, yeah, guys, we need more than 30 likes. What's up with this? We got 114. Yeah. Tony, come on.
That's what I said last week.
Right now.
Like, last week we had like 140 people watching, and we had like 8 likes, and then all of a sudden everyone liked. I mean, if you're watching it for free, you just got to give us a like. I need to go get a refill here too. Talk about these dudes while I go get a refill. Those 3 I just talked, because I know you like them with me.
All right, yeah. So Taylor Gooch. So I agree with Tony. Everyone plays Taylor Gooch just because they see the cuts. But he hasn't been that great. But this is a weaker field, so I would probably play him here. I haven't bet on him at all though before then. Other than that, I was not on this Matisse Schwab. That one. That's an interesting one. I think I have to get on the train. Again, I was not on him before. That's all you. but I don't mind it. It sounds pretty good. I kind of like, if we get into this lower in this 6K range, I kind of like, kill a Keith Mitchell at 6,900. I don't mind taking a stab on him in tournaments. Danny Lee, another guy, just a straight
now you're getting
tournament
me
flyer.
excited.
6,700. 6,700. Yeah. I mean, these are guys that, like, I think you have to take stabs on in tournaments if you're MMEing. If you're playing, 3 lineups, these aren't guys probably you're going to play. But if you're playing, even a 20 max, I might take a stab on a Danny Lee, but like definitely 150. Like if you had 150 lineups, Tony, like what would you do with Danny Lee this week? Would you play him like 5-10%?
Like Danny Lee, if I had to just throw like one random guy, I've said this on a few of our shows too, where I just feel like Danny Lee, man, he can make birdies, and he is the most boom or bust person ever, because most weeks he's going to miss the cut. I don't think I'd play him on like my $500 team or my main team, but I mean, I could. He's one of those guys I just feel like I wouldn't be shocked if on Sunday you see him in the top 10 making birdies, and he's going to be 1% owned because he always is. And whenever you can get a guy that 1% owned that just makes birdies and he's not going to be owned, like there's value to that because you can play chalk in other spots. He's just a guy I like playing. I play him a ton in Showdown, and you play him knowing most weeks he's going to miss the cut. Like, he just is. That's just how he plays. He fires at pins. But on an easy course, I like him. I mean, if I played – I'm only playing 20, full disclosure, this week. My player pool is going to be way smaller this week. I have a really strong leans on the guys I like in the cheap range. So I'm only going to play 20 teams in the millie. I'm going to put 20 in all the 20 max, which are my favorite tournaments anyways. We talk about these a ton. To be honest, 20 teams is like my sweet spot. I love playing the 20 max, and that's what I'm going to do this week. So I'm going to play a tight core. I'm still going to play Danny Lee on, let's say, 2. I probably wouldn't play him on more than 2 of my 20, 10%. Like, I don't – because, again, he's going to be 1% owned, so – if he does crush, you still got him on 2 of your teams. You don't really need more than that. Like, you don't need to over leverage yourself on someone like Danny Lee, because chances are he is going to flame out on you. He's literally a millie maker type play, where if he top 10s, you could have a chance to win the millie, but most of the time he's just going to flame out on you. So I agree. I'd say 10%, however many you play.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Probably if 20 max, it'd be 2. And I think if I was 150 in, though, I'd probably throw in like 10%. I like to be a little more overweight on all my players in my player pool than some people. So I have less players in my player pool normally than most people. But it's just because I like to be heavily overweight on everyone. Tony, there is a guy in this middle 6,500 range that I think you need to talk about, because I'm pretty sure we haven't gotten there yet, have we?
No, I mean, there's so many guys in this. I saw some like crazy numbers, that one of the numbers things that people post, like like 2/3 of the field is priced below 7K or something. So you got just a million dudes down here. But yeah, I mean, so it's 6,500. You got another one of my favorite guys. I'm trying to pull up his past results. So he's only played 2 events. He was the college, I think, Division I Player of the Year last year. Sahith Theegala. He's played 2 events, which was the Rocket Mortgage, which is a comparable event to this. He shot 73 the first day, came back with a 69. I'm pretty sure he missed the cut by a stroke. He was right there to make it. And then the Travelers, before that, he shot 69-71. So 2 pretty solid showings, but no one recognizes him. He's another guy that's going to be 1%, and I think he's got a ton of talent. Like, I've read a bunch about him. He is just another guy, just a feel. Like, I'm going to go even further above the field on him, because I think he's actually, like, super talented. And I mean, he was the best Division I golfer in the country last year. He's got a ton of talent. I might go up to like 20 to 30% Sahith Tigala at 6,500. And I think he's going to be on my main team too, to take it even a step further. I want to play 2 studs. I feel very confident in this guy. He's going to be 1% owned. I'm going to get some leverage on this dude, and I'm excited about him. I mean, granted, I don't know a ton besides what I've read, but I'm fine with that. Anytime I can get a good feel for a guy that's 1% owned, I have no problem just rolling the dice and taking, especially in this field. Like, this field sucks. So if he's ever going to contend, this is the time, and I like it.
Yeah, I can definitely get on board with some Sahith Thangala. I don't know if I hit that name right, but it was close.
There's a good chance we both butchered the name, but he's going to treat us good.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. So one other guy that the chat, I know in our Discord chat has been going kind of crazy on is this Angus Flanagan. Another like kind of young kid. He's min price on DK at 6K. Just because people are talking about him, like, is he someone you're gonna have any of? Is he someone that you just are like Xing out? Because a lot of people, honestly, like apparently a bunch of people are pumping him up a little bit. So is this someone you want to have some exposure to at 6K?
Yeah, so basically he went to college there, I think, kind of like EVR, who we didn't talk a ton about EVR, but he went to college at Minnesota too. This is kind of their home track, but he's going to be EVR. I'm not going to play much of him either as chalk.
He's going to be popular.
And he just hasn't been good enough for me. But like this dude, I mean, again, he's 6K. I really don't consider it a risk to play these guys. I mean, if you get a strong take, I would never probably play a dude like this on my main team, but it's a perfect millie maker play where, again, I know I keep using this example, but you can play 5 to 10% and be way above the field. Of my 20 teams, I'll probably play only 1, maybe 2. But again, if he does good, that's a 6K dude that made the cut and made birdies, and he's talented. It's his home course. It's his home area. I hate that people are talking about him just because maybe he ends up a little higher, like maybe, but I mean, what's the highest he could even end up? I mean, 3 to 5% or something.
I was gonna say 5%.
Absolute, like highest possible. Like,
and he's min price. So we've talked about this before, like at min price, like, if you want to take a shot on a min price guy who you think has a shot to play decent at his home course, and I mean, I have real no problem with it. Honestly, like Tony said, I wouldn't play him on main team, but if he helps you get the guys you want, I don't think it matters. Well, one other guy I did want to bring up is Brandon Grace, just because he's min price on FanDuel at 7K, where on DK he's 7,500. So on DK, I have no Brandon Grace at all, but on FanDuel, just because he's pretty much free, I'm gonna have a bunch of Brandon Grace. So that's just another thing I wanted to make sure. I brought up that I'm definitely going to be overweight on Brandon Grace because he's been priced. So I'm going to have a bunch of him. But Tony, anything else? I mean, we pretty much kind of got through everyone. I think this is a weak field. There's not as many, questions of who we like, who we don't, right? Like the ranges. I mean, we skipped over the entire 9K range. We just literally said we weren't playing any of these guys. But anyone else that we didn't bring up?
I mean, just like literally going through, like, if you have a strong take on any of these guys super cheap below 6,500, like I have no problem taking a flyer because this is the field where you can literally just take a gamble. And if you really have like this Tyler McCumber, I have him in my head from that one tournament where he was a late entry. He took over for like Webb Simpson because that week that the COVID was happening with Webb. I just remember him, like he has no stats that back this up. Nothing crazy, but he's 6,100 where you got to do stuff like that in the millie maker. Like play some random dude in there that I don't know the reason for why you would play him, but if you have any reason for playing these cheap guys, take a little stab on one team out of your 20. I mean, you don't need to play super chalky guys to win the millie maker. Like you got to have something different in there. And in this field, anybody could get up in the top 10 and maybe they won't win it. Like Tyler McCumber isn't going to win this tournament, But if he top 15s at 6,100, you never know. And I'm glad I like these cheap guys because I'm going super heavy on the 4 cheap guys that I like the most.
Yeah, and it's a thing where you don't have to play all these super low owned guys together, but if you can make a few different lineups with, McCumbert in one or the Angus Flanagan kid in another, you don't have to put them
We should be clear
together.
too. Like I do think you should have a rule that you don't play 2 of the total. I'm not talking about the good guys we talked about either down here, like my boy Thigala and Seaford, and I'm talking about the total bums. The dude from Minnesota the Angus, the dude that McCumber. Like I think you should have a rule for those guys where you don't have 2 of them.
Yeah, so pretty much if you're punting with one of those guys, like make sure you're not punting with like two of those guys down there. That's definitely a good rule to have. But yeah, Tony, I think I hit it. Let's get into the matchup section. If there's any matchups that kind of stick out to you, let's talk about that. And guys, we'll take some questions too at the end. So if you want to throw some questions in the chat, we'll get to some questions at the end after our matchup and our winners section.
Yeah, so I'll just go down the list. I mean, stuff that sticks out. We got EVR is minus 143 over Norlander, which, I mean, if you just look at the prices, so we kind of talked about fading that range. I mean, you got, I already deleted Norlander. What's Norlander? 8,600 on DK, I think.
Yeah,
he's somewhere
86.
in that range. And then EVR is what, 8K?
EVR is 8,800.
8,800. So they're both basically the same price. EVR is minus 143 versus Norlander. I would definitely play EVR before Norlander. Like I'm just not paying that price for Norlander. I can't do it. Werenski's minus 142 versus Wyndham Clark. I like that. Lucas Glover, and this was the exact matchup we were talking about. Lucas Glover and Harris English. I think Glover's going to be maybe the most popular, but Harris English is going to be popular too. I would play Harris English over Glover. It's basically a coin flip there. We got my boy Matthias versus Adam Schenk, minus 119 towards Schenk. We got – so here's one. So this is a perfect example of why I wouldn't be able to play Matty Wolff over Casey. Like Casey is minus 160 over Matty Wolff. It's only a 400 difference in salary. I just couldn't play Matty Wolff over him. I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I just respect the lines too much to be able to do that. I just couldn't. Tommy Fleetwood, 122 over Finau. I mean, those are 2 guys that we could have to choose from. So Fleetwood being favored over him is interesting. Finau over Brooks Koepka. I mean, Koepka, last week we made fun of the lines because he was a huge dog and everything, and then he just sucked, and we kind of kicked ourselves for not respecting the odds. This week, Finau, minus 145 over Koepka. But again, I'll show it how you can go 2 ways. Like Finau is going to be 20%. Koepka is going to be under 10. I think Finau, like sure, if ownership didn't matter and you were just betting the lines, I think Finau is a better play than Koepka if the ownership didn't matter, like without a doubt.
Well, I think he's a safer play, right?
Safer
like
play.
100%,
yeah.
like safer. Yeah.
And like it's just ownership. I wouldn't bet Koepka. Like in that matchup, I would never bet Koepka over Finau. So you got DJ minus 137 over Koepka. So like we said with the ownership though, Koepka is clearly the worst play of those 5 just on a projection basis. But the ownership reflects that. Like the ownership is going to be 2-1, 3-1 what his is. And the odds aren't 2 or 3-1 difference. So I'm still good with that. We got Paul Casey minus 180 over Bubba. Again, Casey just a monster favorite over someone up in the higher price range. So Casey, really good play. DJ barely favored over Finau. Your boy Ryan Moore minus 171 over Siwoo. Big line there. We got. So here's a good one. Here's an interesting one for everyone playing chalk Doc Redman. You got Russell Henley minus 140 over Doc Redman. I don't think Russell Henley will be that popular just because people don't like to play him. I mean, right now it's got him like 15% owned, Russell Henley. I think he'll be less than that just because I don't think people are paying $9,200 for him. He's a big-time favorite over Doc Redman, though, and they're in the similar price range. So that just I don't like Doc Redman this week, put it that way. You got Patrick Rogers. This is another good one. Patrick Rogers minus 170 over Will Gordon. Granted, so what's the price difference with these guys? Rogers is
a $500 difference. So he's $500 more.
And freaking just a monster favorite. We got EVR's favorite over Fratelli. Sam Burns is a slight favorite over Doc Redman. I think we both like Sammy Burns a little bit. Paul Casey's favorite over Fleetwood, minus 121. Paul Casey's minus 130 over. So basically, Paul Casey's favored in matchups over everyone in that similar range to him, which I like Casey the most, so I feel good about that. We got Lucas Glover's favorite over Bubba. Harris English is favored over by my boy Matthias. Luke List and Max Homa is basically a coin flip. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. I mean, we can move on to the winner.
So the question is, does Big T like Paul Casey to actually win the event at, what is he, 18-1 right now? He's got the fifth best odds. So right now, DJ, Finau, Koepka, and Fleetwood all are over Casey. But the question is, does Tony like him to win? Now, we'll get there in a sec, but I'm going to start this off in the mid-range because I'm taking Sam Burns again. I think he's going to do it for us one of these weeks. In this week field, it could be this week. At 45-1, I'm not jumping off the boat on Sam Burns. I still like those odds in this week field. I like him at 45-1. And then I think my long shot's going to be Ryan Armour at 100-1. I'm going to take Ryan Armour. Tony, who are your
who's your favorite? Who's your top guy?
Oh, so my winner is I like Tommy Fleetwood at 17-1. That's the guy I'm rolling with to win. So we'll see. But those are my three bets.
So part of the issue I have right now is with winners is my two favorite DFS plays are Paul Casey and Tommy Fleetwood, I think, at the top, who are 17-1 and 18-1. And I don't think either one of them can win the tournament. As crazy as this sounds.
That's the question with Paul Casey is, can he win the tournament? I
think he's got a really good chance to finish like 12th, which I'm good with because of his security. I just think the chances of him missing the cut are basically zero. I think he's going to top 20 almost every time. I really like the security he brings. But I don't think Fleetwood can win either. Like, I like Fleetwood for making birdies. I just don't think he wins this tournament. Like, I don't see it. So I might do it a little different this week and not take any of these top. I might take a few stabs on a few longer shots where let's see who the first guy that I should be clear too. You picked Sammy Burns. If you didn't pick him, I would have for sure picked him because I think he's got a really good chance.
You could pick him. You could pick him.
I mean, should we both pick him?
Yeah, if you like him.
No, you beat me to it.
It wouldn't be fun, but that's why I ran
I'm just going to bet him, and then when we win, you'll have the bragging rights, but I'll get some cheese, so I'll feel good about it.
There you go. Yeah.
So the first guy, I'm just going to take some stabs. Like I said, I really like these cheap guys this week. It's a field where I think we could have – so we talked about this every week too, where all the winners so far have been really good. I mean, we haven't had a scrub – win yet. Every single week has been a big-time guy. I mean, Rahm, DJ, Webb, Bryson, Berger. We haven't had anyone that's not a stud win yet. I think this could be the week where we get a longer shot in there to win. I'm going to throw out three guys that are pretty good odds. I'm still scrolling. I'm at 70-1. I still don't have one that I'm gonna pick, so I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna really give the people what they want in like 3 longer shots here. Give me. I mean, I'm still. Give me. Man, I got
Come
it. So
on.
Seaford will be my first one. 110 to 1. I think you can get 125 to 1. I saw a few places like Pinnacle, Bookmaker. DK's 110 to 1. I know you can get higher even. I'll do 110 to 1 just for the it's 125 on Bookmaker I'm looking at. I think you could get 125, but he'll be the first one. I'll take him. I'll take these guys are tasty down here. I should just go out and take my boy Danny Lee because I think it's going to be a week where one of these random dudes is going to win, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Danny Lee at 175 to 1. And how much is my boy Thigala? Thigala isn't going to win though.
Yeah, do you really like him where
I mean, he's not going to win.
I
That's
mean,
the problem. But again, he's only got to be he's 300 to 1, so yeah, I mean, he's not going to win though. I'm not taking him. I need one more. I'm gonna take my boy Matthias at 125 to 1.
Matthias Schwab or whatever his name is.
I'm going with all the long shots. Those 4 guys are gonna be my key guys to the week. As crazy as that sounds, it's gonna be Werenski, Seifert, Thigala, and Matthias. I like those 4 guys. If they do good, I think I'll have a good week just based on those dudes.
Yeah, and I don't mind it. I mean, this is definitely a week where I think taking long shots, if you're going to do a bunch of long shots, this is definitely the week because the field is definitely weaker. And, it's obviously evident by the pricing. We have 6K guys normally that are 9K. So, I mean, it's 8,600. So it's definitely one of those weeks. But, I think we've hit everything, guys. Make sure, don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. Tony's going to give out free RPS gear either way, but hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up on the video. It just helps us keep pumping out some free content for you guys. And if you haven't gone over to Run Pure Sports, get over there. MLB is starting tomorrow. NBA is starting next Thursday, so a week from tomorrow. I mean, we're going to have everything. All right, one price, you get all the sports, everything, NBA, MLB, PGA, all our stuff, all our content is going to be out. We're going to be doing shows for all those sports coming up, tomorrow and next week with MLB and NBA. So make sure you guys check that out. But for me, JSU, Big T, we're out of here.